Jones channel, a place where listeners will get a balanced perspective of issues affecting the Black community. Here we do not mollycoddle, water down, or soften any blows. This is a stage where both genders are equally scrutinized. Here, there is balance. All right, hello again. This is Faith Jones coming at you again with another one of my videos. And as always, it is good to be in the presence of my people. Today I want to talk about the difference between Lebron James and Steph Currie and how their families are being portrayed and treated in the media. As I've been watching the games, and I do watch sports with my guy. He's really into it, and so by default, I have to be into it too. He drags me along. I don't have any choice. And I just look at the media coverage of how they treat LeBron versus how they treat Stephen Curry and his family. And there's going to be a medley of things that I'm going to talk about today because I just got a lot that I'd like to get off in regards to the whole colorism situation, and especially how it's playing out with Black men in the NBA. We always talk about how the colorism issue affects Black women and dark-skinned Black women in particular, but we never really touch on how it affects Black men. And I think it affects them a little bit different than it does Black women. And both genders have their own issues that they have to deal with this whole issue of colorism. And I just want to break it down and focus on the men today because they don't really admit, I'm talking about dark-skinned Black men, they don't really admit that they have a certain vitriol towards light-skinned Black men. But if you look at this whole NBA thing, and with LeBron James and who was that other guy? Kobe Bryant. I think it was Kobe Bryant that said to one of his teammates that he dunked like a light-skinned guy. And that was a colorism statement coming from a dark-skinned Black man. And to me, it goes back to the whole white man can't jump stereotype. So now, these stereotypes, I'm beginning to suspect that these stereotypes are perpetrated by dark-skinned Black men. And no, I have nothing against my dark-skinned brothers, but some of you are very insecure, especially when you're standing next to a light-skinned brother. And your insecurity, you guys play it out differently than Black women play their insecurities out. Dark-skinned Black women play their insecurities out about, standing next to light-skinned women. You guys do it a little bit different. Just like with the whole thing with Kobe Bryant. Just the mere fact that he told this fellow teammate of his that he dunks like a light-skinned guy. There's this perception that, especially in the NBA, that light-skinned or white guys, they can't take it to the hole. Like most of the aggressive plays are plays that are perpetrated by dark-skinned Black ball players. So if they're dunking and taking it to the hole and you're thinking about aggressiveness and art form and doing these things, you think about Michael Jordan, you think about Kobe Bryant, you think about LeBron James. You do not think there's no light-skinned guy that really comes to your mind when you think about all these aggressive ball plays. And so the mere fact that Kobe Bryant told his teammate, you dunk like a light-skinned guy, that's a stigma. And also that shows a bit of vitriol towards your light-skinned brothers. In a minute, I'm just going to talk about the one drop rule, because I noticed that a lot of, and this is mostly coming from, again, dark-skinned Black men. You guys are the ones that have the biggest chip on your shoulder when it comes to the whole colorism issues amongst Black men. But when it comes to one drop rule, you all will accept a mixed race woman before you will accept a mixed race man as being black. So when you look at your Stephen Currys and Colin Kaepernicks, mixed race men of their ilk, you black men are always describing them as being weaker than you, more feminine and, soft. You don't have anything affirming to say about their manhood. You always downplay their manhood. And I noticed that. I noticed that a lot. Even with comedians making jokes, you downplay the light-skinned men manhood more. And you put them down. And I think you do it on purpose. I think that this is being done by some of you on purpose, because there is a low self-esteem running rampant in the black community amongst dark-skinned black men that makes you want to downplay your light-skinned brothers and have women look at you as being more masculine and more desirable and manly and can protect them and, provide for them, etc., etc. And light-skinned men, they're feminine. They're just like the women. You downplay your light-skinned brothers a lot. And I noticed that it's like the reverse colorism issue in the black community when it comes to the men. So that's the reason why I say it's a little bit different. But the hatred and the low self-esteem is still present. And it's nothing but low self-esteem when you have to tear down somebody else in order to make yourself feel better. But, I just want to talk about real quick, with Stephen Currie and LeBron James. Even with their daughters, LeBron James has a cute little chocolate drop of a daughter. I mean, she's just cute as a button. And, he took plenty of pictures with his daughter, the same way that Steph Curry took pictures with his daughter. But the nation did not embrace LeBron's daughter the way that they embraced Stephen Curry's daughter. And, I look at them and LeBron's daughter, she sported pretty much the same little hairstyle that Stephen Curry's daughter sport a lot, in their photo shoots. She had the cute little ponytail. They got about the same texture hair, it looks like. And the only difference that I can see in these two cute, adorable little girls is that one is dark and has dark features. LeBron's daughter has the dark hair and the dark eyes and the dark skin, but she's just as cute as you want to be. You want to pinch those little chubby cheeks there. And then you have Stephen Curry's daughter. She's light skinned. She has those light eyes. I don't know if they were green. I want to say they were green or maybe hazel. But she got the light eyes, and she got the blondish, reddish looking hair. I don't know what color her hair is, but it's not dark. And so she immediately became America's little sweetheart. And black people cooed and guffawed over her. It was just disgusting. And I said to myself, this looked like a regular little girl. She did. It was nothing, spectacular about her. She was just a mixed looking little girl, but nothing spectacular at all. And I just thought that, people were just fetishizing this little girl to the point where it was just ridiculous. And I didn't like how Stephen Curry put his child out there like that. It was really dangerous thing for him to do. And I really didn't understand it, but it was just disgusting, especially how a lot of black people were just falling all over Stephen Curry's daughter. Like she was just the best thing since sliced bread. And she was just an ordinary little girl. She was cute as a button too, but her cuteness was just ordinary. Her cuteness was no cuter than LeBron's daughter that you see here in this picture. I think it was the same level of cuteness. They didn't have any different type of hairstyle. She didn't even have a spectacular hairstyle. He just put his daughter's hair up in a little ponytail, same way LeBron put his daughter's hair up in a ponytail. But one's light and the other one isn't. And this is how we do each other. But going back to how black men hate on one another constantly with the colorism issue. Because, black women, I'm doing this because I want you to see that you are not the only ones being discriminated against. Dark-skinned women, you're not the only ones being discriminated against here with this colorism thing. I think that this colorism thing is perpetuated mostly by insecure dark-skinned people. Not all dark-skinned people, just the insecure ones that have some kind of chip on their shoulder or some kind of issue with their own blackness. And so it breeds self-hatred and vitriol towards anyone who isn't like them. But I will say that in the black community with black men, and going back to that one drop rule, for some reason or another, the one drop rule is not the same for mixed men as it is for mixed women. Black men will take a woman that ain't even mixed. She could just be from another country, and the country may have some black people in it. But because there are black people in it, this white woman automatically becomes an honorary black person. And, she's Armenian, but she's a white Armenian. But we're going to say she's black, Kim Kardashian. Black men will say that these women are black, and they will bring their black asses back to us with these white women and try to convince everybody that they are not with a non-black woman. Tyrese. And I just think that, it's ridiculous. If you are confident in your decision of being in an interracial relationship, there should be no explaining nothing to anybody. You forfeit your right to talk about black relationships since you're not in one. But other black issues, hey, you can, you still have a voice because, you're still within that community. But as far as love, black love, you're not, in a relationship with a black person. So you don't have the right anymore to speak on black love issues. And you don't have to give us any excuses as to why you're doing what you're doing. If you are confident in what you're doing, you ain't got shit to explain to nobody. We're not your mama. We ain't your daddy. We ain't your God. But yet, a lot of these swirlers, the black men and black women who are so confident in their decision to date out of the race, they don't seem to be all that confident as they try to portray. And you can tell the black people that date outside the race that are confident, because I know them. I got some in my family. I have an uncle that's been married to a white woman for many, many years. And when he introduced her to the family, we were all shocked because he never talked about her whiteness. He just, talked about his girlfriend and what a great person she was. And he described her attributes. We had to find out she was white when he brought her over. And he never made no, explanations or anything. He brought her over, we met her, and all of the attributes that he talked about, we got to know him. And, we fell in love with her based off of his description of who she was. And he never once tried to get anybody else to date, white because he was doing it. He was just too busy being happy. He wasn't trying to bring nobody over there to his side and, do what he doing. Like, hey, he didn't put no black women down. He didn't make the women in our family feel less than because he was with a white woman. He was just too busy being happy. But I can always tell the black men who are not exactly happy in their interracial relationship because they always got something negative to say about the people who are not thinking about being in an interracial relationship. And this is both for black men and black women that are in interracial relationships and they're perpetrating this front. You pretty much out yourselves. You're not fooling anybody. Because if you're so happy, then you would not have to come back over to a place where there are people who are happy with their decision not to date out of the race and try to convince them that what they're doing is wrong or that what they're doing isn't as good as what you're doing. And you wouldn't be over there trying to convince them that there's something wrong with a certain demographic of women in your own group. And this is why they need to look at the women that you're looking at. It's like you're trying to recruit other people to come and join your little swirl movement because you want somebody to relate to you. You're over there in Whiteyville by yourself. And you really don't want to be over there by yourself. You're not comfortable over there by yourself. And that's the reason why you keep coming back over here. Because you want to be with people that you can relate to. And see, this is my thing. If you are a person that wants to truly date outside of your race and you're confident in your decision, you're not going to be uncomfortable in that situation. You're going to be so comfortable that you're not thinking about going back and talking nobody and putting nobody down and, that misery loves company, crabs in a barrel mentality. You're not doing that. You just come around with your family, no apologies, no excuses, and you are just being who you are. Without trying to step on nobody else. But no, you all can't do that because you're not confident in what you're doing. You don't have anybody over there on the other side that you can relate to because you're not feeling it like that. So you come back over here and fuck with everybody else. Excuse my language, but that's true. You do. You come back over here and you completely mess with everybody else that ain't, feeling what you're talking about. Like me. I get a lot of swirling females that are so allegedly happy in their little interracial relationships or they're wanting to be in an interracial relationship. Some of them are not in interracial relationships and have never been in interracial relationships, but they want to be. And they're so gung-ho on this thing that they want to but yet they're not really completely confident. So they want to make sure that they get a couple of people to kind of give them a cosign, pat on the back, like, hey, you know what? You're right. You're doing good. And you're doing so good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to come join you. That's what they want. When they keep coming back over here, insisting that somebody join them in their swirl activity. First of all, why would you want somebody to join you in your decision of who you want to date? That sounds like some old threesome type stuff. Some weird, threesome type stuff. Why would I want to pull somebody into my world of how I want to date? That's ridiculous. If I'm confident in what I'm doing, I'm not trying to bring nobody else in on it. What the hell you think this is? But yet you swirlers, that's what you do. People that are not interested in swirling, you try to revert them like Christians try to revert atheists, or like Christians try to revert Catholics, or how Christians try to just, put their little religion on everybody. If you're not a Christian, you're going to hell. If you're not a swirler, you're not happy. You're doing something wrong. You're going to be condemned to eternal damnation of being with black people just like you. The hell you talking about? But anyway, I have this to say to the swirlers. If you are confident in your decision, and that is your wrong but adult decision to be with who you want to be with. Nobody's saying, you don't have a right to be with who you want to be with. If I prefer to be with my black people and I prefer blackness and this is what I want to teach my children, don't bring your so-called happy ass over to my neck of the woods and try to tell me what to teach my children and who I need to be with and why, what I'm doing is wrong because you over there with Whitey or Chinky or whoever the hell you with. You be with them. If you're so confident in that decision, you don't need me to high five you and, say, hey, you know what? You're doing so great. I'm going to join you. You don't need me. What are you doing over here? If I was interested in doing what you're doing, I know where to find you. I'll just go over there where you at. But you all keep wandering across the land to where black people are that ain't thinking about what you're doing, and you keep trying to convert motherfuckers. And I just don't understand it. You so happy. Why are you over here trying to convert people that ain't thinking about what you doing? Trust me. When people get tired of what they're doing, where they're at, they know where to find you. You ain't got to go and try to drag people kicking and screaming over to what you do. And that's exactly what you do when you go into these chat rooms and you start randomly dissing black men and dumping all black men in one category and trying to make it appear that all black men are a certain kind of way. And this is the reason why black women need to get out and save themselves. No, that was your experience. That's not every black woman's experience. So for those of you that use this as an excuse to do what you're doing, you're gonna always be unhappy because you're over there just mad at black men. And that's the reason why you keep coming back over here, because you still want to vent. If you were happy, you wouldn't be thinking about venting. You wouldn't be thinking about coming back over the land to talk about how happy you are. Happy people are just happy. And happy people are not shitting all over everybody else's happiness. So this is how I know you all are full of shit. And stay the hell away from me and mine. But anyway, like I said, I had to get that off my chest. But I'm going to go back to the whole Lebron and Stephen Currie thing, because I just noticed that in the NBA you got two equally talented black men that have different types of athletic ability out there on the court, yet they're treated very differently in mass media. Now, when LeBron James first came out, everybody was talking about how he was going to be the chosen one. He was the chosen one for a little while. And he rose to fame and stardom very quickly because of his skills and his talents. And a lot of people hated on him along the way, too. He got a lot of hate. But then, there came Stephen Curry. And, like I said, just as talented as LeBron, in my opinion. It's debatable, and I'm not here to debate who's more talented. Talking about one thing and one thing only. So first things first, I don't want to get into a basketball debate. So you guys that want to debate basketball, go do that somewhere else. That's not my point. I think they're equally talented. That's my opinion. But here's the thing. Stephen Curry came out and he stole LeBron's thunder. It just seems like overnight, because I didn't even know who the hell he was. I always knew who LeBron was. I mean, even when he first came out at 17, it was just such a big whoop-to-do about LeBron that everybody knew him. But I didn't know who in the hell Stephen Curry was until just recently. And I say this to say that hey, it's a new king, a new golden boy has arrived. And it just seems as if mass media I think over the last year, just started anointing Stephen Curry with this kingdom out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. Stephen Curry and his family, they're the golden ones all of a sudden. Something that they never did with LeBron and his family. And I have to look at it like this. LeBron and his family. LeBron is a dark-skinned black man with a dark-skinned wife, and all of his children are dark-skinned. And here's Stephen Curry with his light-skinned, racially ambiguous-looking wife, Aisha Curry. and his mixed children, and they're all light, bright, bright. There's nothing dark over there at all. Nothing dark over there whatsoever. And so, a lot of self-hating black people, that like light, they gravitate to that, especially, and everybody was gushing over his daughter. Oh, she's so cute. I didn't see where she was more cuter or less cuter than LeBron's daughter. Like I said, comparisons are going to be made. And in my comparison, it's the same. The two little girls are equally cute, but one was raised and put up on a pedestal and one wasn't. And the only reason I can think of is that one is light bright with light bright eyes and light bright hair, and the other one isn't. But it's more than just being light skinned, because like I said, the one drop rule thing isn't just a black thing, but it's also a white thing. And a lot of times, if you have just a drop of black blood, you're black. Look at what happened to Tiger Woods. He's sitting up there talking about he's black and he's Asian, he's something, whatever the hell he made up in his head. But I see they put on that arrest record, he was black. So whatever he thought he was, they let him know what they think he is. And he's a nigga. He's black. But with Stephen Currie, that one drop rule thing, he's black, sure enough. His father's black. But here's the difference. White people, they pick and choose which black people they would rather relate to. And if you go back and you look at the history, both of their backgrounds, look, Stephen Curry's background and LeBron James's background, you compare the two backgrounds. Not only are they different on the outside, one's dark, the other one's light, but look at LeBron. LeBron was raised up in a single mother household. He did not have his father with him, and he grew up in a lower income situation than Stephen Curry did. So LeBron's upbringing is not attractive to the powers that be. But then you have Stephen Curry. Not only does he have the light skin, going for him, the mixed white appearance, but look at his upbringing. He has the white mother. He lived in the predominantly white suburbs, born with the silver spoon in his mouth. And he had his father in his life. So he had more of a whiter, I'm not saying it was a completely white, but he had a whiter looking upbringing than LeBron James did. LeBron James's upbringing is stereotypically blacker than Stephen Curry's upbringing. White people, and this is not even just white people, but everybody attributes poverty and growing up without a father to a black upbringing. And that's the stigma that LeBron James is coming up with. And that's how I believe Stephen Curry was able to come in out of nowhere and steal LeBron's thunder. He became the golden boy, not only because of the color of his skin being like white people, but because his upbringing closely resembles the white ideal upbringing. And the fact that he grew up around a lot of basketball legends didn't hurt him either. So this is the reason why everybody is more willing, especially white people, because black people, we can't give them anything. But white people are willing to pass the crown to Stephen Curry and his family because of these two things. They can relate to Stephen Curry because Stephen Curry has a whiter upbringing than LeBron James. Now, in looking at this whole colorism issue amongst black men, I can feel where a lot of dark skinned black men are coming from. When they look at their mixed race counterparts and they see how, some of them do have light skin privilege. And for those of you that don't think light skin privilege exists, look at this whole LeBron James, Stephen Curry situation. LeBron James, in my opinion, is just as talented. And he was out there on the basketball scene a lot longer. LeBron James is not raising his family in the same way in which he was raised. LeBron James is raising his children in a two-parent home. Yet, because LeBron James has that stigma in his background of being raised in a single mother in a poor neighborhood, he can never rise to Stephen Curry's status in white people's eyes, because white people cannot relate to LeBron James and the poverty and the things that he had to overcome in order to get to where he is today. LeBron James didn't have anything handed to him. Everything that he accomplished, he had the accomplishment on his own. He did not have a legacy of NBA greats to look up to. He didn't even have a father. And so this is why I would say that we need to sort of heal each other, heal ourselves, so to speak, because it's an issue. Colorism is an issue in the black community. It's one that we should not overlook. It's one that we shouldn't be, saying doesn't exist, because it obviously does. You can see the blaring inconsistencies over and over and over again. And what I have to say is that, we're both used, whether we're light skinned or dark skinned, we're both used. When they get through with Stephen Curry, Stephen Curry's still going to be black to them. And maybe 10 or 20 years down the line, when he's old and he's out, drinking, and he gets pulled over for a DUI, they're going to put on his police report that he's black. And they're going to forget all of his accomplishments the same way they did with Tiger. So in the end, we're all the same, but it's just a different level. We have different levels to the type of systematic racism that we have to endure. The house slaves had their issues that they had to deal with, and it was not pleasant. It was not a cakewalk for them. And the field slaves had their issues that they had to deal with, which was, we all know, was unpleasant. But all of it was unpleasant. All of them were slaves. All of them were treated less than human. All of them were treated like property. And this is what I'm trying to bring full circle to get us to come together to see. This whole colorism issue on dark skinned black women, you're not the only ones that are affected by it. Dark skinned black men, you're not the only ones that are affected by it. Light skinned people are affected by it too. Everybody has something that they have to deal with. It may not be exactly the same as what you have to deal with, but it's just as unpleasant. I wouldn't want nobody hating me for being light skinned. If I were light skinned, I think that's just as bad. It's all bad. And I wouldn't want nobody giving me any type of privilege just because I'm light skinned. Because if I'm good at something, I want to be rewarded because I'm good, not because somebody had a prejudice. And this is what I mean by when I say it's all bad. Everybody is being victimized in the situation. But that's just something that I wanted to lay on you. I'm not going to be long-winded in this situation, in the subject, I mean. But this is Faith Jones, and I'm coming at you again with another one of my videos. Please like and share and definitely subscribe. Have a good one.